Hello everyone, welcome back to Dutch Today. My name is Martijn and this is the first video in a series for level A2. And right away I want to tackle the past tense. We have two forms of the past tense in Dutch, the perfectum and the imperfectum, and today I want to focus on the perfectum. Ik heb in Istanbul gewoond. I lived in Istanbul. So you see, ik heb in Istanbul gewoond. In this case we have two verbs, heb and gewoond. Just like in other sentences where we have two verbs, the second verb goes at the end of the sentence. This is no different for the perfectum than for the present tense. For every perfectum we use either hebben or zijn, depending on the verb. Just like with the irregular verbs, the only way to really remember this is by memorizing it. I could say that a lot of the action verbs use hebben and a lot of the more passive verbs use zijn, but this is not always the case. So there are two ways to really practice this. One way is to just make lists for yourself of verbs that go with hebben and verbs that go with zijn. The other way is by reading, and I recommend everybody to read in Dutch because this is really the best way to memorize these irregularities. Now, how do we get from wonen to gewoond? What we do is we take the ik form, so ik woon, we add ge to the beginning, gewoon, and then we add a d or t. But how do we know if we should add a d or t? Let's go back for a second to the infinitive wonen. Now, you strip wonen of the en. What is the last letter of what you're left with? It's an N. The N is part of a group of letters that get a D. Instead of just memorizing all these different letters that get a D, all these different letters that get a T, we made up a phrase that is easier to remember, which is soft ketchup. Another phrase you can make with these same letters will be pocket fish, so use whichever one is easier to remember for you. I will stick for now with soft ketchup because it is what I hear the most. So for the rest of the videos where I talk about the perfectum or the imperfectum, I will refer to this, soft ketchup. The N of wonen is not in soft ketchup, so you get a D. If the last letter is in soft ketchup, you get a T. So the way to remember this is there is actually a T in soft ketchup, so soft ketchup equals a T. So let's try this with another verb. Fietsen is also a regular verb. Ik fiets, so we have fiets. We put ge at the beginning, gefiets. So the last letter of the infinitive minus the en is an S. The S is in soft ketchup, so gefietst with a T. Ik heb gefietst. Be careful though, because there are also some verbs where the letters change when you conjugate them. Remember, to determine if we use a D or a T at the end, we're always looking at the infinitive minus en, no matter how the verb changes when you conjugate it to ik. For example, reizen. We take away the en, we're left with a Z. The Z is not in soft ketchup, so we get a D. Ik reis, the Z changes to an S. The S is in soft ketchup, but this doesn't matter because we're not looking at the ik form, we're looking at the infinitive minus en. So, ik heb gereisd with a D, not with a T. Another example would be leven, to live. Ik leef gets an F, but leven without the en ends on a V. The V is not in soft ketchup, so ik heb geleefd, I lived with a T. I hope this short explanation makes some sense to you. Why not try this with some other regular verbs for yourself? Rennen, maken, bellen, and werken. Try to form the perfectum forms of these verbs and maybe add them to the comment section below so I can check it for you. In the meantime, please don't forget to click like and subscribe, and I'll see you here for the next video. Doei!